Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna deal with the Dalit short story written by M M Vinodini, which is named as The Parable of the Lost Daughter. So, while hearing the title of the story itself, we may be reminded of the biblical story of the prodigal son. So, let me come to that later. First of all, let us discuss about the writer. So the writer's name is M M Vinodini. She is a well-known Telugu Dalit women writer and born to a Dalit Christian family. She is well aware of the oppressions and hierarchies in the social structures faced by the Dalits, especially the women. She was well good at her studies and now she is working as the assistant professor at Yogi Vemana University. Now let's look into the characters of the story. So the protagonist of the story is Suvardhavani or S. Vani. She is a Dalit Christian girl who thinks of her Dalit identity as an embarrassing one in the beginning of the story, but later comes to know that her identity is not an embarrassing one, but she has to resist the oppression in the society faced by the Dalit identity. Paladasu and Krupamma are the parents of Suvardhavani. Gayatri is the elite Brahmin girl who befriended Suvardhavani. Piratla Subramaniam, Kameshwaramma are the parents of Gayatri. Gayatri's brother in law also plays a major role in the story. Zakaria is the younger brother of Suvardhavani. Let's move into the story. So the story moves like this. The story begins in media re. So what is in media re? In media re means in the middle of things. So the story begins like, didn't you say they were Brahmins? Will they let us into their homes? So this opening dialogue conveys the Dalit identity of the speaker and their anxiety about the existing untouchable norms. So the story revolves around Suvardhavani. She is a Dalit Christian girl and her father is Paladasu and mother is Krupamma. Father is a carpenter and at night he drives auto rickshaw too. Suvardhavani was very good looking and very intelligent also. She was very good in her studies. So the story goes back, that is in a flashback. There is a flashback that she joined MA in Rajamundry. There she met Gayatri, the daughter of Piratla Subramaniam, a very good writer, a very established writer. One day after college, Gayatri took Suvardhavani to Gayatri's house, and on the way to the house, Gayatri takes Suvardhavani to the Anjaneya temple and applies a red botu on Suvardhavani's forehead because Gayatri didn't want Suvardhavani to come home with bare face. Gayatri's mother also says of Suvardhavani, like, never mind her caste, she is a very lovely girl. She speaks so clearly. So we can understand that the conception about caste roles are like Dalits aren't able to speak so clearly and all. So the conventional cliched conventions of or cliched mentality of the normal society, the so-called normal society is opened here, commented here. Actually, there is a kind of marginalization, but at that time Suvardhavani didn't realize it. She started to behave just like those Brahmins and she imitated all their actions, habits, their food style. Along with that, she hated her own family and her own food habits also. She started wearing botu. She visited Gayatri's family frequently. After that, there is a function that Gayatri's sister was pregnant, and Gayatri invited Suvardhavani with a warning that Suvardhavani can't attend the function if Gayatri's grandmother and Uncle Baji is there. Because grandmother was a very strict follower of conventions and Uncle Baji had the great habit of checking the horoscopes of unwed young girls. So revealing Suvartavani's caste was not very good for Gayatri. There, in the function, many people uh, saw Suvartavani and tried to make an alliance with her, but all those who tried to make an alliance with her abandoned her when they saw when they knew about her caste. So that situation is described as Gayatri would whisper the caste name as if she was uttering something it is unspeakable. Then there was a ritual that Gayatri applied turmeric to the feet of all women presented there except Suvartavani. So even if Suvartavani asked, Gayatri replied that Brahmin should not touch the feet of Harijan. So Gayatri is also specific and concerned about caste. Later, Suvartavani herself applied some turmeric in her on her feet as she felt embarrassed. In Suvartavani's home, she hated her own parents, their looks, their habits. She found fault with everything they did. After MA, Gayatri was married off to USA. Her family, mom and father was settled in Hyderabad. Suvardhavani started working as part-time in Ambedkar Open University, and later she received a call from Hyderabad University and set out to there. This is where we saw the story has begun. Like Suvardhavani set out to Hyderabad and was hoping to stay in Gayatri's home, but her father was worried. And there was Zakaria, Suvardhavani's younger brother, also in their home, who frequently teases Suvardhavani about her mimicking of upper caste customs and food habits. That is a part of the story, and that is also an added up element of the theme. In the second part, Suvardhavani went to stay in Subramaniam's house. Before entering the house, she uh, removed the chain she was wearing by saying sorry Jesus, then put a botu on her forehead. Suvardhavani calls Gayatri's parents as mother and father, but Gayatri always said my mother to her mom and your mother to Vani's mom. So there is always a clear cut distinction that Gayatri put forward between their families. In the third part, it is the last part of the story, and there is a kind of awakening happens in Swarthavani. Swarthavani was given a small room connected to the front portion, but she loved the room as it had many books. One half of the bookshelf had book authored by Piratla Subramaniam, that is Gayatri's father. So she was very furious to talk with him, but he never wanted to speak with her. Another tension that she had was about the menstruation. She was worried about saying this to Gayatri's mother and all because she knew that Gayatri's family is a very well conventional oriented family, so they won't allow her to step out of her room and all. But fortunately or unfortunately, till the day she was leaving, there no period occurred. The last challenge, the one of the most challenging situation Swarthavani that happened to Swarthavani was Gayatri's brother-in-law misbehaved with her by saying that I know Dalit Christians or Dalit girls, they are not very chaste or very pure like elite girls. Just so he is making a clear cut division between the sexual orientations and he is actually generalizing the characters of a caste. So all these things triggered many questions in Swardhavani's mind. And at the night she was leaving, at the night she encountered Piratla Subramaniam teasing, scolding his wife Kameshwaramma by using her caste name. So she understands that ev- even though she admired and she worshipped their caste and their customs, they did not consider her as an equal human being. So she decides to leave the home and then she removes her botu, wears her Jesus uh, chain, and she says, "This is me, this is me, this is my identity. I'm a Dalit Christian, I'm leaving." So, this is where the story ends. So, basically, it is about identity, but it is breaking many stereotypes. Primarily, it is breaking the stereotype of a Dalit story, which is so called Dalit story. Everyone expects sufferings and oppression from a Dalit story, but the narrative does not give like she's suffering too much and all, but it is an act of it is the voice of resistance. It is a kind of passive resistance against the oppression they are facing. So I hope all of you understood the story. Thank you.